This is the Hot 790 News.
Good evening. It is Thursday, December 28th, 2023. I am Daniela Edwin. Welcome to a special edition of the Hot 7 TV Nightly News, Year in Focus. Tonight we take a look back at some of the major events which made the headlines in the first half of 2023. We are on full channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. Not forgetting those of you using the Hot 7 plug and play antenna. Thank you so much for joining us. Our newscast tonight begins on a somber note as we take a look back at the first official homicide recorded for the year. The sudden demise of a Tuapita woman on January 3rd, 2023 was shrouded in mystery as police tried to piece together their investigation into what was described as a suspicious death. The results of a subsequent post-mortem examination revealed that the woman was unfortunately strangled to death.
The tightly knit community of Tuapita Castries was rocked on Tuesday morning by the strange discovery of the lifeless body of a woman identified as Serafina Stephen. The deceased was reportedly found by her distraught son as he repeatedly attempted to wake her up. When the young boy realized that his mother was unresponsive, he then alerted nearby residents, who then rushed to the apartment to provide assistance. The St. Lucia Fire Service was thereafter summoned. Upon arrival, emergency responders observed that the woman presented no apparent signs of life. Suspicion continues to mount concerning the mysterious death as police await the results of a post-mortem examination which was conducted on Wednesday. In the aftermath of the horrific discovery, community members described the woman as fairly reserved and said that she did not appear to be someone who attracts trouble. They also disclosed that Stephen was fairly new to the community as she only moved there approximately 2 years ago. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
The early months of the year were marked by a pervasive trend of bloodshed, with the Independence Day observance in 2023 being characterized as one of the bloodiest in St. Lucia's history. This after 5 homicides were reported in separate incidents and a number of vehicular accidents occurred on that day. The resources of emergency response officials were stretched to the limit, as were that of local lawmen whose swift action was responsible for nabbing 2 perpetrators following a fatal shooting in Soufrière.
St. Lucia's 44th Independence Anniversary commemoration was marred by bloodshed. It started in Soufrière about 3:30 p.m. on Wednesday, February 22nd. A young rider identified as Kevin was gunned down just outside the Rubis petrol station. He was attending the annual Independence Round the Island motorcycle rally. Moments later, the Soufrière shooting suspect were apprehended by police. Swift action by a joint contingent of the Soufrière Police and the Marine Police Unit resulted in the intercepting of a fishing canoe which appeared to be involved in facilitating the escape of the alleged shooters. The intercepted fishing boat with 2 outboard 85 engines along with the suspects were escorted to the Soufrière Bay under the close surveillance of a Marine Police vessel. Later, the men would be taken away in handcuffs for further processing. Meanwhile, 4 additional deaths occurred in Bexar, Mon Repos, Vieux Fort, and Ancillary, respectively. In Vieux Fort, crowds at the popular Sandy Beach were sent running for cover when gunshots rang out during a social gathering. When the smoke cleared, 1 man was dead. He has since been identified as Denzel of Cantonment. The death in Mon Repos was as a result of a traffic accident. The victim was a well-known comedic character known as Lazy Master. Police have since issued an appeal to the public. Anyone with information on these latest deaths and other crimes are asked to contact the crime hotline at 555 for anonymous reporting. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Eldridge Charles.
The quaint community of Vieux Fort was likened to that of a war zone when multiple individuals were slain in the community back in March. The spate of killings forced the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, Honorable Philip J. Pierre, to present the Suppression of Escalated Crime or Police Powers Bill to the Parliament of St. Lucia in the bid to quell the situation. At the time, the nation's leader noted that a crisis necessitated a crisis response.
There's got to be some inconvenience. I apologize, but I make no apologies for taking a strong stance against criminals.
The recent enactment of the Suppression of Escalated Crime Police Powers legislation has been polarizing, with some individuals agreeing with the contents of the act, while others have described the clauses as outright tyrannical and a breach of constitutional rights. The Suppression of Escalated Crime Police Powers Act is a legal instrument that establishes a framework to preserve public order and public safety in St. Lucia by granting the RSLPF additional powers in an environment deemed to be an escalated crime area. Summary convictions for offences made under the police powers attract fines not exceeding EC $50,000 or imprisonment terms not exceeding 15 years or both. Convictions on indictment for offences made under the Police Powers Act attract prison terms not exceeding 25 years. Despite being enacted in an effort to curtail crime on island, there is genuine public concern about the authorizations being granted to the police at this time. Providing elucidation on the matter, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre has defended the new law, asserting that criminals cannot be allowed to commit heinous crimes rampantly in country without repercussions.
And I said before that there'll be some inconvenience. We have to make a choice. And the choice is whether we suffer some inconvenience for a few moments, a few days, or we allow criminals to run the country. We have to make a choice. We all for the human rights of people. The police have been told we have to observe the human rights of individuals, but we have to make a choice. We can't allow criminals, we can't allow 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 people to create economic instability in the country, social deprivation, and put the country in chaos. We can't allow it.
A statutory instrument is to be signed by Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre to earmark Vieux Fort as an area of escalated crime. This would mean that the provisions outlined in the Police Powers Act would only apply to that zone. Responding to the critics who are wary about the possible infringement of rights, the nation's leader outlines that there are contingencies in place to preclude abuses of power.
It's only, first of all, it's only in an escalated crime area, or in a specific area, right? And secondly, there you have recourse. Some of the things only the Commissioner of Police can deal with it, and others a policeman above the rank of inspector, only the Commissioner of Police. But you know, it's only like the detention of persons is only for 144 hours. It's a specific time. It's not indefinitely. You understand? So after 144 hours, you go back to a judge as usual.
According to the legislation, an escalated crime area can only be determined by the National Security Minister, who in this case is Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. Reporting for the Hot 7 TV News, I am Kareem Nelson.
You're watching Hot 7 TV's Year in Focus. Up next, we'll take a closer look at St. Lucia's momentous ascent to the Caribbean Court of Justice as its ultimate appellate court. Following that, we'll dive into a comprehensive assessment of the highlights and happenings of the 2023 St. Lucia Jazz and Arts Festival. Stay tuned for an in-depth review of these significant events.